I want to talk lastly about triple talaq and the Muslim practice of say divorce 3 times, and the declaration of intent as a means of procuring a divorce. And particularly in India, it's interesting because India is a democracy, it's a constitutional republic, and but it allows for what's called personal laws, and not to be confused with private laws, but it basically categorizes or dissects society based on religious groups, and whatever religion you adhere to, that religious law is applied through the civil courts. An interesting case came about. It was raised to the Supreme Court in 2017 in India, where these women got together and sued in a class action against this practice of triple talaq, of the husband saying divorce 3 times and that being enough to break the marital tie. And the outcome of that was basically that the Supreme Court in India took a look at the history of triple talaq and looked at Islam, and but said ultimately, it's okay as long as it complies with the Constitution. Mm-hmm. And in the moment that it conflicts with the constitutional parameters of secular society, then that would no longer be acceptable. Mm-hmm. And so they took a look at it and said, it was challenged on 2 grounds. One was the Equal Protection Clause and one was the Due Process Clause. And the due process argument was, again, that this was an arbitrary and capricious decision. And it was overruled in 2017. Now, I see this as a functional equivalent almost to the no-fault divorce in the United States and in the Western world. We don't call it triple talaq. But if New York is saying, one spouse only has to make a declaration that the marriage is irretrievably broken, I mean, in these Islamic countries, you have to say it 3 times. In the U.S., you only have to say it once. Right. Is there a functional equivalent here, and if so, can we recognize it for what it is? Because Amnesty International and the United Nations came out and saying this was a move for women's empowerment and equality, and now they're already talking about implementing no-fault divorce in India. So it just seems backwards almost.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of subterfuge and misunderstanding and sleights of hand when it comes to family law. And you're right. I mean, you cannot. I mean, my initial impression on that is that you cannot really tolerate a parallel system of law, a separate system of law within a sovereign state. I mean, to have a system of Muslim law, of secular law, of Christian law. I mean, it doesn't really work in a secular state. I'm surprised at how long India can make that work. But in some ways, that's what the no-fault divorce system is here. It's a system of it is a parallel system of law that is inconsistent with the common law, but inconsistent with the Constitution. Mm. So it's I don't know how long. I mean, sometimes countries can tolerate this sort of inconsistencies, but eventually the logic plays itself out, as we're seeing with no-fault divorce here.